Take us inside the playbook, just in terms of how many plays do these teams generally go in with? When do they get old? When do they get stale? When do you implement new ones? When do other teams kind of become familiar with what you're doing? Can you just kind of take us inside the way it really works in terms of play calling?
Well, it's a good question, because many times, or most of the time, you're really looking at the last 4 games from a team. So somebody in the building is going back to week 1 and what a team did. But, yeah, if you're sitting there looking over, especially now where we are in the season, if you're looking at the last, 12, 14 games, you just don't have time to do that. But you want to see where a team is now. And as you guys well know, obviously injuries dictate a lot of the way teams play as they go along in the season. So you may have been a lockdown man team to start out, but then you lose your 2 corners, and all of a sudden we better play a lot of 2 deep to protect the corners that are playing now. So you really look over the course of the last 4 games for what a team is doing, both ways, offensively, defensively. Teams aren't going to look at this Dallas team and see, hey, how did they approach the Tampa game offensively? So again, things have changed. This offense has changed. They can't run the football. The last 2 games, both New Orleans and Washington have kind of dared them to run the football. They said, we don't think you can do it. We're not going to allocate a lot of resources to stopping you. And they've stopped them. So I think that's the biggest thing for this offense, And Mike McCarthy touched on it yesterday, saying basically we got to get back to being able to run the football better. And that's going to then open up other things for them.
And in terms of Jerry talking to us about like plays that will come in the postseason, are those new plays that are worked on in the middle of the year, or plays that you've already worked on and you're saving?
I don't know. I didn't hear what he said, so you'll have to kind of brush me up a little bit on that. But if I'm hearing saving plays for the playoffs, I don't know that you necessarily do that, but you're always working on things, and you may not run it for weeks. And how many times have we heard a guy say, yeah, we've been working on it. I never thought they'd call that in a game, whatever that was, right? And then all of a sudden here's Cedric Wilson running the reverse pass. So there are things that you work on that you just don't get to in the course of a game that may pop up. But, yeah, whatever they have, I'd bring it out because the offense is struggling. So I don't know that this offense is at the point right now where you're saying, yeah, we got all these really good plays, but we don't need them now.
Babe, does Dak struggle to read a zone defense?
No, no pun intended here. I think we read too much into all this. He was playing great, right? The first 7 weeks, we were talking about him for MVP. So I don't think that he suddenly was unable to read a defense. And the thing you really have to be careful about if you're Dak, and he comes out, and I understand you saying, hey, no, we're confident. We think we're the best. We're this, we're that. You can't be all that confident right now. You just can't offensively. They're not playing great. They're not playing up to their standard, if you will. I get a little tired of the word standard, but they're not playing as well as they could play. We all recognize that. They recognize that. But the thing you have to be careful about as a quarterback, everybody in the building has a thought for you. And I mean everybody. Everybody walks by you. Hey, Dak, think about running, when you're in that third down and third, and think about, you might just think about that. Or, hey, Dak, you seem to be getting the ball out of your hands a little quickly. Give it a little more time. And then the next person that walks by you said, Dak, you got to get the ball out of your hand a little quicker. Nobody talks to the left tackle, right? Nobody says, hey, Tyron, I think on your set, on that first kick step, you're getting yourself a little wide. Only the offensive line coach says that. Everybody's got a thought on the quarterback, so Dak has to be very careful.
Babe Laufenberg, every Thursday at this time, Cowboys color analyst on 105.3 The Fan. So, yeah, we saw an article and went through it, how teams were just not blitzing him as much. Are you seeing the same thing? And what's the defensive thought behind that of, hey, this is the way to play them? Choppy, you have it?
Yeah, here are the numbers, Babe. Prior to the Denver game, so against Tampa, he was blitzed on 57% of dropbacks, 64% against Carolina, and then 41% in one other game before the Denver game. And then at the Denver game, it was like below 15%. And when not blitzed, he's performing at a much lower level.
Well, and the big thing, too, is you have guys when they're healthy, obviously. You have three guys that can beat any man coverage. In Gallup, CD, and Amari. So you're kind of playing with fire there. A lot of teams, and Tony looks like he will not play this week, but the Giants don't have anybody that you just line up, press a man, and say, oh, my goodness, we better hold our breath. That when you get teams that can play you press coverage, man, blitz people, and your receivers can't beat the other team's corners, you're in for a long day. And I think teams are just saying they're not willing to give up that play by blitzing. And I think you see that more as the season went on. The other part, and again, I want to get back to the running game, and that does, let me just say, I know, Choppy, you hate the run. But it doesn't mean...
I don't hate the run.
Yes, you do.
I don't hate the run.
We all have ears. We
You
hear.
need to run sometimes.
You think I don't listen to the show? No, but my point, I'm kidding you, but my point is you don't have to run the ball 70% of the time. You have to run it better than they have because, again, once I can stop your run and not allocate a lot of resources to it, now I'm allocating my resources to dropping people in coverage. And that's what, to me, has become more difficult for this team, especially, again, I got to get back. Last two games, New Orleans and Washington, they ran decently against Washington, but they didn't run the way you'd like to see your team run. But it never got them out of just playing that shell defense and playing back and making you drive the ball 10, 12, 15 plays on your drive to get your touchdown.
Babe,
So,
how much better can the offensive line get, though? Like, how much optimism?
I don't mean to cut, but it's a great question. I know where you're going.
Like, it is what it is. Like, we know we're average at left guard. We know we're average or to below average at center. We've had a merry-go-round at right tackle. I mean, it is what it is for the rest of this year?
Well, they clearly have to play better, and they're going to be hard to play better this week because you don't have Tyron. So, it's you can only coach so much, right? I mean, you can be the best offensive line coach in the world, and if you don't have a guy that can do it, you're going to struggle. So, could this is what it's going to be? And then it kind of goes back to Kellen on, okay, what can he do? And I say Kellen, that includes Doug Nussmeier, the quarterback coach. That includes Mike McCarthy, who's obviously been a coordinator, been a play caller, been all that. You got to kind of put your heads together and say, okay, what do we do here? Here's where we are. We'd like to run the ball for 6 yards on first down, but we can't. So how do we kind of manufacture a little bit of a running game? So I think that's a big part of it. They're not able to just line up and smash people and drive them off the ball. So now you almost have to manufacture the running game somehow with scheme. And that, again, that's difficult to do. There's a lot of teams that don't have great offensive lines that would love, you'd say, well, let's just scheme them better. But the guys on defense are pretty good, too, in terms of coordinators and their ability to stop what you want to do.